So it's always good to document when we are here and when we're willing to come together and stand up with other people who care about the same things that we do. And also, by the way, I love these signs, so it's very important to document some of these signs. I know I use them all the time in my articles, so I appreciate you guys bringing great signs here and telling us what you really think. And if Inslee was home, we'd be able to show it to him, so that's why we take photos and make sure we email them to him. So I want to start out just with one thing. Again, my name's Glenn Morgan. I have a website called We the Govern. One of the things that, and by the way, I did make one misstatement already today. I said that they would never have me work for the state. That isn't true. I was once offered a state job on the condition that, that I quit being an activist. So, yeah, who's to say that corruption is dead in Washington State? Anyway, I want to talk about whistleblowers a little bit because many of you who do work for the state that have reached out to me and to others who are upset about Inslee telling you that it's not your body or your choice anymore, you happen to work in the state in one department or another. And it doesn't matter whether it's Department of Ecology or Department of Corrections or L&I, or if you're at the Employment Security Department and you kicked $1 billion out to that Nigerian fraud scheme. Wherever you happen to work, nobody knows more than you about how government really works behind the scenes. And I bet most of you have stories that people need to know and that people don't know right now. And you probably have kept quiet about them sometimes because you're worried about your job. You were worried that you were going to get discriminated against at work, or they were going to pass you over for a promotion. And now it looks like Inslee's threatening to fire you anyway. So I actually think that if you happen to know one of these stories and you know something about what's going on in your state agency that the rest of the state should know, feel free to come forward. And you can do it anonymously. I mean, why not play offense? Do it anonymously, collect the data, and come to somebody like me. I'm always happy to publish the truth. And sunlight is the best disinfectant. And transparency is very important. And in addition to being the best disinfectant, of course, it also kills lots of viruses. So I do want to point out, though, please feel free to come forward with any information you might have. Corruption, incompetence, dishonesty, nepotism, kickback schemes, grifting operations, or just that appointee that they are covering up the sexual harassment. Whatever the truth might be and whatever people want to hear and whatever your boss doesn't want to hear, that's the kind of stuff you should come to us with. The mainstream media certainly won't report it, but we will. And there's nothing like getting it out there and exposing it and letting them know there's a lot more where that came from if they're going to threaten to fire you over not following their random dictates. So, and also, even if you've already gotten the vax, even if you've gotten the jab, it doesn't matter. If you're just frustrated about what's going on, please feel free to come forward. I always encourage whistleblowers, as long as you document what the story you have, get those documents organized, get the witnesses organized. I'd like to expose the truth. And if you do know who actually got that $1 billion from the Employment Security Department, because I seriously doubt it's a Nigerian fraud princess, I'd certainly like to know. So please feel free to come forward and tell us that. But of course, we're here today mainly because Inslee's decided, again, it's not your body or your choice. And that he's decided that he can tell you what you can stick in your body, how much of it you're going to have to stick in, how many times you're going to have to stick it in. And of course, this is just the beginning, and it's the precedent that really is disturbing. So again, many of you do work for the state or you work for a state agency. I would encourage you to raise a ruckus, and if you haven't yet, do it now, because I think in many ways they're going to have to back down. But they won't do it if you're passive and silent and quiet. Showing up here is one good step in the right direction.
Well, I wasn't going to plan to speak today, but I did want to get up here and thank everyone for showing up. It's incredibly important that now more than ever we stand together as a united front against exactly what this is. It's tyranny, folks. It's arbitrary and capricious tyranny. Nobody's livelihood should be held hostage to surrendering their bodily autonomy. Your co-workers should not have to bear the brunt and suffer when you all get fired because you don't want to be forcibly injected with something that you don't want. You know, usually Inslee talks about consent and wanting to have permission for things done to people, but he has no problem telling you that you must comply with this. Well, I will not comply. I know you will not comply. I'm a federal employee. I'm under the same mandate. It's going to affect everyone. And that's the message that we have to understand. It's not just all of you out here. It's not just your coworkers. This is going to go on to our children. They are going to force this on our children. And they will tell you that you can't send your child to school unless they have the jab. And it's not going to stop with this. They're going to say the next thing. They're going to say, oh, you're going to need your monthly booster. And then they're going to say, oh, well, you can't eat those foods. And oh, you can't drink those drinks. And you can't drive your car where you want to, when you want to, because we're going to cut off the gas and we're going to put a tracker inside your car. As soon as we surrender these freedoms, it will not stop. We have to make it stop right here, right now. And we have to have the resolve. We have to have the resolve and commitment to each other that we will support each other if the governor continues with his threat. So, as you're standing next to each other, listening to the speakers on stage, make sure you introduce yourselves to one another. Make sure you make contacts and share your social media, share your information, because it is going to take everyone relying on each other to make this work. Thank you, everyone.
And with that, I'm going to introduce somebody here, Julia, who has a poem that she wants to read. This is a multimedia, multi-method program here, and we like using all kinds of ways to communicate messages. Julia, take away. Speak close on the microphone.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julia. I am also a state worker. I also came here 20 years ago from the socialist, communistic Russia. I don't tell this to anybody because I truly despise that country, but I've escaped. And I am here in the United States of America, the country of the free, the country of choice, the country of the opportunity. And they're trying to take it away. Don't let them. Last year, I wrote this poem, but this year, it still stays true and will probably stay true for a lot longer. It's called I'm Scared for My Country. I'm scared and saddened for my country. What had it become? No longer do we have the promise of tomorrow. The American dream has become an American horror. And you don't know who's gonna stab you in the back. People are at each other's throats, spewing anger and judgment, and it's always someone else's fault. They just yell. No one wants to have discussions. They just yell insults at everyone because they're drowning in their hatred. They hate our flag. They hate our traditions. They hate the idea of the Bill of Rights. They hate our way of life. People have become so lazy. People want rewards for breathing. People want everything for free. I'm scared and saddened for my country. There's no one else for me to flee. Thank you. Stay strong, everyone.
The next speaker that we have coming up is going to be Tricia Gilson from the Department of Health. So let's welcome Tricia and hear what she has to say about Inslee's mandate.
Thank you.
Keep it close.
Hey, guys. Excuse. I know they didn't work for Biden, but I can read, so I'm thinking I can look down on these every once in a while. The unconstitutional ultimatum that came to us came with two false pretenses. This is the Democrats' operation. This is how they do things, okay? First, they told us, now we understand that this may upset some of you a little bit. So go ahead and call your supervisors. Some of us did that. And guess what we heard? Nothing. They can't share their opinion. They can't have a meaningful conversation. Nothing. But they gave us another avenue. Call HR. We all know how helpful HR is. Okay? Regardless, some of us did that. And here's what we heard back. This pretty much sums it up. First of all, a disclaimer. We had no idea this was coming. That's wrong, because you had time enough to tell the supervisors to shut their mouths. Okay? The second answer we got, no matter what the question was, I don't know. Woo! And the third answer we got to any question was, that's a good question. This is from HR, okay? This is how the state does things. They pretend to offer support, and it's a dead end every time. Stop listening to what they say and start looking at what they do. It's lifelong. This is what they've done. The second false pretense was the exemptions that they pretend to offer, medical and religious. And I'm going to tell you what we've been told. The doctors will not sign an exemption. You know why? This is the answer they gave us. For two reasons. We don't know enough about the COVID-19 vaccination to give you an exemption. If you're a doctor and you have a patient that you care about, the fact that you don't know enough about a medication should be the reason you give an exemption. Okay? That's right. Not all doctors, not all nurses, thank God, but too many of them trade in common sense for a degree. Okay? Don't be afraid to get that back, doctors. The second thing they say, the doctors are saying to us, is that our legal department will not allow us to sign exemptions. This is another dead end, purposefully. This is intentional, okay? This was planned, okay? They send us different avenues, and they're all dead ends, thank you. They're all black holes, and they've had time to shut these black holes, okay? So this was very well planned. Do not doubt that. It took a long time. I want to tell you that we need to be prepared to be fired, okay? We need to be prepared to be replaced. It won't work well for them. I'm going to tell you right now. It will not. And we need to hold strong. We need to stay strong. We need to be prepared to take care of each other, okay? We need to be prepared to be self-efficient. We need to be prepared to support, share, barter, and trade with each other, okay? We need that. And we need to be prepared to endure to the end, okay? That may sound rough, but the end is not far coming. I promise you that. I feel it, okay? I have a message for Inslee, the AG, Shaw, and Reichart. Okay? Listen up. I'm talking to you and everyone who's helping you. Your time is coming to an end. Okay? I know you are already feeling it, but I'm telling you, from this day forward, you're going to feel it even more. You're going to feel it every day. You're going to feel it in your bones. You're going to feel it in your pocket, and you're going to feel it, if you still have one, in your soul. Okay? Until you're done. We have a responsibility as Washingtonians to stand strong. This state is the first one to put up with this particular crap, okay? And we have to. We have 49 sister states that are looking to us to hold the line. This is an experiment, and we are not going to let our nation down. We are not going to let them down. The last thing I'm going to share is that my son came to me yesterday concerned that I was coming to these rallies. He said he was concerned for my safety and my future, and I told him, son, I'm going because I'm concerned for your safety and your future. I love you.
Thank you, Tricia.
There's a side effect of death to this vaccine. Quit beating around the governor's bush with all this political nonsense. People are dying. Look at the back of this. More deaths than 9/11. More deaths than Pearl Harbor. The vaccine is killing the citizens. Arrest Jay Inslee for intent to harm. Come out of your mansion, you coward, and I'll give you a mandate right here on this lawn. You want a mandate? 5 o'clock in the grass. Bring your vaccine, Jay Inslee. Try to harm me, and I will use every right I have to protect myself from the potential harm you wish to inflict on me and my family. And if you come after our children, consider it war. Had enough! Had enough! Sick of this!
If you see any shaking, it's because I'm nervous because there's a crap ton of you out here and I did not expect that. I've been to plenty of these and I think this is probably the biggest. Thank you. There is a man that I saw walking around with a sign around him and he has a megaphone. If you paid attention to what he was screaming out, it was that his sister died after being administered the vaccination. So, sir, I want you to know that I heard you, and I want you to know that my aunt died after the second dose of the Pfizer vaccination. So I'm with you, and I'm so sorry. Okay. Now that I said that, a little bit about me. My name is Sarah. I am from Florida. I'm not from here. I know a lot of you wish that you were there right now. Yeah, so do I. My husband is active duty Air Force. He is not, thank you. That's how I ended up here as a registered nurse. I work in Olympia. I'm medical surgical. My husband isn't with me. He's been called off to Afghanistan. So if you know what's going on there, please pray for him. I swear I'm gonna stop crying. I mean, because I can't get through my speech, right? So let me lay this down, hold on.
What's his name so we can pray for him? His first name?
My husband's name's Andrew. Yep, Andrew. I'm not, I can't reveal any more other than that. So I want you guys to know what's going on in the hospitals. Jay Inslee lied to you twice during the last pressers briefing, where he said, one, that the vaccinations, the unvaxxed, were the ones that were dying in the hospital. And I want you to know that if you pay attention to local hospitals like Providence, St. Peter, and St. Joseph, and the Centralia hospitals, they released a document that you probably all saw where it showed, a certain amount of white and blue people, vaxxed and unvaxxed. Has anybody here seen that? Okay. So I want you to know that the governor has tricky words. He tells you that it's unvaxxed that are in the COVID units in the hospital. That's not true. And according to Providence, St. Peter, and Centralia, the document that they released says partially vaxxed. That means that these people that are in the COVID units, a lot of them, and I can't tell you how many exactly, but a lot, have at least received their first dose of some type of vaccination, whether it be Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca. I know Johnson & Johnson's only one shot, so that would be considered a full vax. But the ones in the COVID units here, and this is coming from CCU nurses, ICU nurses that I talk to regularly. They told me that they have received at least one vax. That means that they had 4 weeks to get the second shot. But somehow, all these people that just received the vaccination are now COVID positive. These are COVID positive patients right now in our hospitals. And they're stating that it's just unvaxxed. So when he says that, know that this is coming from an RN and he is lying to you.
Yeah, we know.
He is lying to the public. Yeah, recallinslee.org. If you haven't gotten on it, you need to now, because we need to get rid of the governor. He doesn't have your best interest at heart. I have several healthcare workers and a lot of other people that tell me the same thing all the time. They say, you know, I feel like this is a losing battle and I'll just take the vaccination. But do you think the government's going to stop there? Do you think the government has your best interest at heart? Do you trust your government? Why would you put an experimental vaccination in your body? Now, those who have vaxxed, that is completely fine. That was your personal choice, as everybody up here keeps telling you again and again and again. We are not trying to take that away from you. What we're trying to do, though, is educate the public, and it's my responsibility as a healthcare worker to let you know that the VAERS website, updated, is now 16,044 permanent disabilities from the vaccinations, 12,791 deaths, 70,667 emergency room visits, 51,242 hospitalizations, 13,139 life-threatening events, and 682,873 reported injuries. 3 times the amount of all the vaccines that we've ever had combined injuries.
Not a vaccine.
And you know, they say, the CDC says on their website, the reason why we can't trust these numbers is because they haven't been validated. Why aren't you validating these, CDC? Why aren't you taking the time to look at these? If you guys don't follow, I think her name is Ivory Heckler. She was a Fox News reporter that blew the whistle on Fox, and because they were trying to prevent her from releasing a Texas physician's information about how ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, vitamin D, and zinc were there to protect you, and that this guy was having 100% success rates when treating his patients with zero ventilation needed for these people. They were never intubated. And I want to let you know that the CDC and ICU nurses here, they are blowing the whistle, and I get numerous reports daily. As a matter of fact, one is now fired, and she is in Florida right now. And to her, I say, I really miss you. I love you, but I understand why you had to leave. And I understand that your license is now in jeopardy. And I'm sorry for that. But I will tell you what some of them are telling me. They are putting their patients on ventilators. They are not giving intubation vacations. There was a particular instance that I will give you in which a CCU nurse had titrated the patient down from the ventilator, and he was 91% O2 sat, and it was growing, it was coming up. And the next nurse on shift had an opposite opinion of this. She was a vaxxer, did not believe that anybody had a right to choose. She believed that these people should be on ventilators, so she put them back on the ventilator. It ended up killing the patient within 24 hours because it damaged the baroreceptors. He couldn't function without it. And there's a lot of families here who, they're across the United States, they're claiming that they don't need ventilation. They're telling the hospitals, don't do this to my family. They're not consenting to it, but they're putting them on the ventilators anyway. Do not let them lie to you. Yeah, exactly. Jay Inslee's not paying attention because he's not here. And Governor, I'd like to speak with you face to face if you want to know exactly what's going on. I was a COVID nurse at my last facility that I worked at. I got COVID myself. My son's got it. My husband got it. We lived through it. Thank you. We took our vitamins like we should have. We did everything that we should have. And I'll tell you that it does have a 99.8% rate of survival. What they're telling you that everybody's going to end up on a ventilator, everybody's going to die. This is mass fear. This is a rhetoric that they are pushing to you, the people. They think that you are uneducated. They think that you cannot read reports yourself. They think that you will never look into their hospitals. They think that you will never learn the truth. And when you are blind, it's easy to listen to mainstream media and completely take what they are saying serious and with facts, right? Because everybody's so hell-bent on wanting facts. Well, Inslee, I've got a few for you. And that's the fact that you lied to the general public about the amount of completely unvaxxed people in these COVID units. So you can own up to that right away. And I also want to let you guys know, I am under investigation by the Department of Health Nursing Commission. I am set to lose my license once this investigation continues because I have been speaking out. I lead several groups with thousands of people in them. I am set to be fired from my job September 30th because I refused to sign a declination in which it states that, well, it's not even a declination, they did away with that altogether, they just released it yesterday. But now I can seek religious exemption, which was turned down, by the way. I can seek religious exemption with an agreement that I would take 2 to 3 times COVID weekly testings, have to sit down, and I did this at my last facility where I had to sit down in rooms with physicians and other nurses who basically degrade me and tell me that I am unintelligent, I am uninformed, and that I should not have a license as a nurse because I refuse to follow the rhetoric. But that's what they're doing, and you guys need to know this. And you also need to know that at our hospital, they are offering nurses the chance to opt out of taking care of COVID patients now. If they have a vaccination or a religiously held belief, they can opt out of taking care of COVID patients. When I was a COVID nurse at my last facility, do you want to know who opted out of taking care of the patients? I went 14 hours one day with no relief because none of the nurses would work with the positive COVID patients that we had in our facility. Nobody would relieve me. I brought in 4 nurses, called them in from their homes, and they were all vaccinated, and they all refused to take care of the COVID positive patient. Yet I have been taking care of them last year, this year, and I was known as a healthcare hero, right? Every day I walked in, I saw that same sign, and now, to hell with me. I don't amount to anything. I'm going to lose my job while my husband's in Afghanistan. I will probably be on the street if I can't find another one. But I don't care because it's worth it. So every single one of you guys out there saying that you are deadly scared of what's going to happen, you should be more scared with what's going to happen in the future with our country, because I'm telling you, this is just a minor inconvenience now for you, and it can get way, 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 way worse. Way worse. Think about it, people. We are reliving history right now. You standing here right now at the Capitol, you will be written in history books later. What side of history are we going to be on? Obviously, the people here have chose the correct side. But we need to wake up our family members. And to family members who aren't here, and to, mothers and fathers, grandfathers, the people that do not accept our informed consent and ability to critically think and choose for ourselves, I say this. I say that is your father, that is your mother, your grandparent, your daughter, your brother, and you should love them despite what their vaccination status is. This has never been a thing within the United States of America, and I'm ashamed that it is now. And I'm ashamed that we have allowed this governor to do this. And I'm telling you, as somebody from Florida, with DeSantis as a governor, you need to be very wary of who you are electing into office. And I'm endorsing right now, I like Joe Kent. He's military. His wife was murdered, and I'm telling you, she was murdered by ISIS, and her death did not go in vain for the freedoms and the liberties of others. So I endorse Joe Kent for the 3rd District, and I hope you guys will vote for him too, because it's important to get the right people in office right now. I had a lot of more stuff to say, but I kind of went off the whim there because I felt like it was more important for you guys to know what's really going on in the hospitals and how Jay Inslee has lied to you. But anyway, so I'm going to let Brad Cole come up here and talk. He's one of my good friends, and he leads an unmasking group. Oh, 2 more things. 1, Inslee, where is your bond? Where is your freaking bond? Everybody is supposed to have one, and I'd like to file a grievance. And on top of that, OSPI, Chris Rechtel, where is your bond? Why are they not available to the general public? And if you are in schools, and I lead very many speeches for school boards because our children should be unmasked. They are literally the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to spreading this disease. They are not mask carriers. The DOH department numbers have not changed on the data dashboard, the COVID data dashboard. 18% of all COVID positive have been children, 2% of those in the hospital, 0.1% deaths within the state of Washington. So they are not the most at risk. We know it's 80 or greater with multiple comorbidities. Quit lying to the public, because you're really starting to piss me off, and I really want your bonds. And if you guys have a chance to visit, and I'll put it on my page, feel free to message me. My name's Sarah, double the name on Facebook. You can look me up. I run several groups. But if you look up the, what's the name of the constitutionallawgroup.us. They have documents here. A school action plan. Go to their website and print this out. This is how you will serve, if you're not currently doing it, serve your board members with petitions, basically a FOIA, requesting their bond and policy information. Then you file a grievance against them. It's the same as what you do for if you get in a car wreck, right? The insurance company takes it over, does it for you, because now we're being told there's no sense in bringing this to law. Our judicial system is so screwed up that we'll never win. So let's do this outside of requesting a court case, and let's start getting their bond and policy information and go after them. You have rights, use them. And remember that every single one of these, InfoWars, woo! Alex Jones, how are you? Alex Jones, we really miss you on Facebook. We really miss you, Alex. But anyways, just remember that everybody in office, even Inslee himself, they took an oath to be in office, and they agreed to the Washington State Constitution and our Constitution of the United States of America, Article 1, Section 1, Article 1, Section 2 of the Washington State Constitution states that they have to preserve our individual rights, and that it is inherent in the people, and that the government is run by us. And if you're not aware of the Constitution of the United States, check out Amendment 4. You're really going to like that one.
All right, thank you, Sarah.
Now, it's not my job to come up here. Again, I'm Brad Pohl. I'm actually a little bit different in healthcare. I'm a medical device sales rep, which means I'm covered under these mandates. I'm mandated just like every tech, nurse, doctor, everybody else. I'm mandated to get the vaccine per the rules that were put out. The difference is I don't have an employer that I can give an exemption to or try to get an exemption with. I have to try to get exempted from every hospital, every doctor's office, every place that I do business, which is virtually impossible because I have a territory that goes from Federal Way to Centralia and the whole peninsula. Imagine how many places I have to send exemptions to and hope that they get accepted.
Your exemption comes from God.
That's right. But it doesn't matter because I decided at the beginning of all this, I wasn't going to try an exemption. I'm going to hold the line. I drew my line at the mask, and I'm not going to play their game any longer.
Absolutely. In any way.
And I really suggest you do the same. Everybody's different. Everybody has different, they have to do different things. But we have to hold the line. If we hold the line, Jay Inslee has proven he is a coward and he will back down. He has proven that time and time again. He thinks he can sit behind closed doors and be a bully. Him and Chris Reichdahl. Okay, that's another enemy right there. All right. Who this week heard of Eatonville High School? Well, that's my hometown. All right? Whether it was intentional or unintentional or whatever, they put another mandate on our kids, which is crazy. So, I'm just up here to say, I really want people to hold the line. This entire 18 months plus, they have led through fear. They've made you afraid. They've made your families afraid. There's tens of thousands of people in this state that are affected by these mandates. We should have triple, quadruple the numbers we have out here. But you that are out here right now, you are the front line. You are the freedom fighters. Whether you like it or not, it is your job to go back to your communities, back to your jobs, and tell people they need to stand up, they need to rise up, and they just like Dare when we grew up as kids, they just need to say no. Just say no. That's what the cops taught me when I was like in 4th grade. All right? So, you guys have all made a choice by being out here. I've made a choice. You've all drawn a line in the sand, and that's to be respected. But now, I've spent the last 6 months, I've spent the last 6 months fighting against teachers union in my community that have tried to keep our kids masked up. I love our teachers. I love our healthcare workers. I love our firefighters, our state workers, our cops, all of that. But we need you guys to get back into your unions and take your unions back. The majority of your unions are fighting against you right now. They're fighting against you. They're siding with these things. You have to take your unions back. Don't cut and run. I hear from too many people in those industries that are scared of their union. Don't be scared. Gain a coalition of like-minded people and take them back. No fear. You know the 2 definitions of fear, right? You know the 2 definitions. Forget everything and run, right? That's one choice. Or fight everything and rise. You have to rise. This is just the beginning of our fight. We got more speakers. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I appreciate all of you for coming out. I know the organizers do. Keep pressing the people around you to hold the line. If you hold the line, the coward, Jay Inslee, will back down. I promise you. He has proven it. Thank you.
Can I get all of my kids up here really fast? All of them, and hold those signs up one time. Can y'all make some noise for my young ones, please? I promise that this message will be short, sweet, and simple. Hold on. You gotta say it. Anyways, my name is Daniel. Meaning no particular organization. However, these are my kids. Anyone in the building, I want you to know that these are my kids. That's simple. 400 plus years of slavery, my family fought already for civil rights. I didn't think at the age of 30, I'll be fighting for my human rights. You are not allowed to put anything in me or my kids. That's simple. My body, my choice. My body, my choice. I see so many superheroes out here. My one in particular works for Providence. She's being forced to get this disease planted inside of her body, or else she'll lose her job. And I tell you right now, we'll take that chance because we don't give a shit what you say, Inslee, or anybody else. Only a coward will force you to comply. Can you say that with me? Only a coward will force you to comply. I have people in Spokane, my uncle, who was a police officer, will not comply. My uncles who fought in Nam will not comply. People who work for Providence or for the schools will not comply. I don't know about you, but we are not afraid to not comply. And my kids, are you afraid to not comply? No. Are you afraid to not comply? Are you afraid to not comply? No. I need everybody, the message is simple. We are the first line of defense, and we will be the last line of defense. Stay strong, stay focused, trust in God, believe and know that this right here is not okay. And like I said, at the age of 30, I didn't think I would be doing what my ancestors did with civil rights, fighting for human rights. But I promise you, I'll go to my grave fighting for them. So that's what my thing is. Thank you.
If there's one elected official out there who's been consistently on your side when it comes to freedom and liberty, it is going to be Representative Walsh, our next speaker here. Take it away, Jim.
Thanks, Glenn. The right of petition and of the people peaceably to assemble for the common good shall never be abridged. Are you here for the common good? Well, God bless you. You know, some are going to say, thank you. Some are going to say that this is an anti-vax gathering. Some are going to say that it's an anti-mask event. It's none of those things. This is a pro-consent rally. This is a pro-Constitution rally. This is a pro-choice rally. Now, you've heard some compelling speeches from this stage. You've heard from the people on the front lines of the edicts, of the mandates that a governor drunk on emergency powers is inflicting on this state. But I want you to think about this. What is the issue that we face right now? It's bigger than his mandates. It's bigger than his proclamations. This issue is about fear. It's about establishment, politicians, and policymakers using fear to prey on a free people. Are you afraid? Amen. They're using fear, but fear is just a key. Fear is just a key. The lock is a kind of laziness, is a kind of complacency that all of us have been guilty of over the last decade or two. Times have been good in Washington. The economy has been good. Jobs have been good. And during that time, and until recently, the world was somewhat peaceful. In the midst of all that, we got lazy. We got complacent. We fell asleep. But now is the time to wake up. When you hear of these mandates, when you hear of these proclamations, remember the hierarchy of public policy and law. The highest form of law is the Constitution. Beneath the Constitution is statute, the proper body of law. Bills drafted and passed by a legislature and signed into law by a governor. Statute is the second level. The third level is the administrative code. The administrative code is not law. It is the series of rules that state agencies make to help implement the law. Here in Washington, we call that the WAC, the Washington Administrative Code. Beneath the WAC is the group of actions that we know as executive orders and emergency proclamations. They are the lowest form of public policy. The Constitution is the highest and strongest. The law is high and strong. The bureaucratic rules are weaker, and the executive orders and emergency proclamations are weakest of all. And you see the games that the would-be tyrants play with words. They'll tell you, well, the process of making our emergency rules is lawful. The process of my proclamation is a legal one. This is the weasel words of a legalistic, narrow-minded authoritarian. A proclamation made lawfully that results in an unlawful consequence, outcome, is not lawful. You've heard some mention of Article 1, Section 7 from our state's Constitution. That's the section in the Washington State Constitution that talks about privacy. And it does it more plainly and clearly and strongly even than the federal Constitution does. And Article 1, Section 7 says, you may not be disturbed in your personal affairs without the proper order of law. The proper order of law. Law must be signed by a legislature, passed by a legislature, and then signed by a governor. A governor's proclamation is not law. We need to rise up. We need to wake up at this time. We need to reclaim our power as a free people living in a republic. Your government is meant to serve you. You do not serve the government. We've heard recently and read that the state superintendent of public instruction is going to cut money from school districts who disobey. We are in Alice in Wonderland, where the superintendent of public instruction, who's supposed to be the strongest advocate for schools, is threatening to cut their money. It's upside down. It is your money, that's right. But most importantly, independent locally elected school boards can't disobey the governor. They are independent. They are locally elected, and they have what the law calls broad discretionary power to make decisions about how their schools are run. Do you believe in that broad discretionary power? The superintendent has narrow powers. He has narrow powers in the bureaucratic world to play with money, but forget his narrow powers. Should the superintendent be threatening to cut money from schools? And the governor. The governor says that if you live your life and you make your choices about your health, you are being insubordinate. You cannot be insubordinate. You are free people. We need to return to the values that made this state great, has made it great for more than 100 years, and have made this nation strong. And what that means when you're faced with fear is you don't respond with emotion, because that's what the other side plays. They play on emotion. You respond with reason. You respond with logic. You respond with the law. You know, the word law and the word logic, they come from the same root word, logos. And it means the thought, the word, the concept of things like justice, of things like law and order, of things like individual responsibility and individual autonomy. These are the logos that makes Washington a great place to live. Well, that and the beauty of its nature. And that logos, that concept that you are the master of your own life, you are the master of your own fate. We must cherish this. We must remember it. We must repossess the good of our constitutional system. And teach it in our schools. So when you confront the fear, when you confront the fearful, when you see them and you interact with them at the store, at your kid's school, at a public park, don't be angry. Don't be fearful. Don't be timid. Be proud, be strong, and be happy, because logic is on our side. Law is on our side. Truth is on our side. We don't need to break glass. We don't need to burn things, because we know we're right. So reclaim what is yours, brothers and sisters, and keep in mind the first words of our state's Constitution. Article 1, Section 1. All political power is inherent in the people. And governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed, and exist to protect and maintain individual rights. They're your rights. It's your consent. Defend them.
Thank you, Representative Walsh. Okay, that is our last speaker. Just real quick in closing, I want to remind Governor Inslee that he can't fire everyone. So they may not notice it if it's at the Evergreen State College, but they will if the rest of the state shuts down. So remember that. Make them fire you, because I don't believe they can. Now, I want to point out just a couple little housekeeping things. If you are in SEIU 1199, Healthcare Workers Northwest, there is a meeting of other people that believe the same way you do in that union back here under the trees. look for Melissa. If you are trying to organize by city or by community and you want to get your local workers involved or help people who maybe do get fired, meet by the fountain. In the pink shirt back there, she is waving a sign and she's terrified that I'm pointing her out to you. She will help you get organized back there. Don't forget, there are porta-johns off to the left if you need to hit the road. And if you do have your pets out there, Inslee's Mansion is just shortly past that, not that far away. Do pick up after yourself. This isn't an Antifa event, so make sure we leave the place cleaner than it was when we got here. And with that, meet other people, and this is a super spreader event for freedom, and I hope you spread it far and wide. Thank you very much. We'll see you later.